Hey.
Hello.
Hey, it's working. Look at that. That's great.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to get this set up on my iPad so I don't have to hold my phone.
Oh yeah, good idea. You on your phone right now?
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable how well it works. I mean, you're just not even using headphones or anything.
I know.
I probably made this too complicated by trying to use my studio setup. Should just do it from my phone.
Nah, I don't think so. I checked into some other ones just to see what was going on. That was pretty cool.
Oh, and some of the other blabs that are out there?
Yeah.
So this is so funny because this is my first time doing the blab here, and it took a minute to try and get it right, get it working. So I'm going to say this out loud so it's permanently recorded, and maybe I'll remember it next time I watch this. I'll be like, oh yeah, do that next time. But I'm using Chrome, the Chrome web browser, and that seemed to work. And I know how to do the settings in there. It's the MicTech SSD mic and that C920 camera. So there it is. That's my recall notes right there.
There you go.
But yeah, I think I started and accidentally stopped to blab like 6 times. So I think I have 6 mini recordings of nothing that are floating out in the ether there.
Do all those get recalled?
I have no idea. It's my first time trying it out, so we'll see. But I have a plugin I'm using Simple Live Press, which is going to post the blabs on my website. So I'll be able to, they're up there for replay. And
awesome.
I don't think it'll post 6, fake ones. That would be kind of useless.
No, I don't think so either. You probably don't have to worry about that.
Sweet.
All right.
Well, we're live.
Awesome.
Tell a bird and it just told all your friends or something like that. I don't really know. See if I can get so I don't know if you can hear us, Chris. I see you're there. If you want to join us, please feel free to jump in and ask any questions. This Hangout is going to be all recording studio all the time. Just recording studio Q&A.
Do you have anyone there with you?
You're it. It's just you and I to start. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if anybody jumps on. Maybe those false starts may have destroyed my any click-throughs that were going to happen. Who knows? Because I think they find them on Twitter, the false ones. I don't really know if they make it through or not. But let me start with this, Marissa. Let me ask you a question. Oh wait, we got Chris joining in. Sorry, here we go. Hey, Chris. Oh, he was there for a sec. Didn't come through though. Chris, sorry about that. I don't know. It didn't come through. So if you want to jump on, just try again. I got an open seat for you. Marissa, tell me what's your biggest frustration with recording music?
Biggest frustration. I would probably say the biggest frustration.
Hey, Chris.
Wanting to know that you have the perfect sound going in.
I want to preface it with this, Marissa. On the other side of the screen here, Chris and my biggest frustration is not having a giant Santa Claus white beard, because we have that totally covered and we have no problem there whatsoever.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow. So, Chris, do you look like me later or do I look like you later? And I don't know if I can hear your mic yet. Your mic is muted. You may need to unmute something because we can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear.
Let's see. But we can give you props. Look at that. If you click on the hands, Marissa, it's like giving a shout out.
Oh, sweet. Hey.
All right. So, Chris, nope, not yet. Chris, you keep figuring it out. When you got it, just jump in and interrupt us and we'll be able to let you know. Marissa, so you were saying what? Trying to get something recorded right on the way in?
Yeah, so just knowing that you have exactly what you want going in, so when you can put, some EQ and effects on stuff and have it recorded, but is that what you're really going to want, when you go back and listen to it? Just having the confidence to know that this is exactly, what I'm going to need later on.
So you're saying you're ready and willing to commit on the way in, like You've been told is a good idea, but you're not sure what you should be committing to.
Yes.
I think the answer is if you're feeling good about it when you're getting the sound, If you're putting some EQ on it and some compression and you like it,
Mm-hmm.
then that's the only right answer you really need to commit. And then if you're not liking it, then don't do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't do it in a way that turns it into something that you're not digging.
Yeah.
Because you can always add some more EQ later. You can, start
true.
shaping it a little bit more. For a long time, all I had was a Pro Tools rig, was the Digi-01. This is like 15 years ago, something like that. Yeah, I guess 15 years ago. And I had a microphone. I had the SM7. Excuse me. And I had the one mic pre that sounded great, but I didn't have a compressor. And I didn't really have any outboard EQ or anything that I particularly wanted to use. So I just got used to just placing the mic somewhere great and just trying to get a good solid sound in with that one mic, knowing that I could EQ it once it was in the computer. So that's kind of one way to do it.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it, really.
I don't know. I don't always have the best way to do it. Hey, so guess what? Today was pretty fantastic. I had Michael Beinhorn on for an interview. And I don't know if that's somebody you know yet, but he's a fantabulous producer. He was in 1998. He was nominated for Producer of the Year Grammy.
Oh wow!
Yeah, for Celebrity Skin by Hole and Mechanical Animals by Marilyn Manson.
That's awesome.
Along with tons of other records. Chris, you're still not getting the sound there, huh? Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, we'll just read your lips. Wait, just send some reindeer over. Do it. Just send people gifts. Everybody that forgives all.
That's too fun.
Chris, are you on a Mac or are you on a PC? You're on a Mac. All right, we're just gonna have to do yes and no questions. This is just as good as anything. All right, so I'm gonna have to guess your biggest frustration in recording music. Are you frustrated by tuning your guitar? All right, no, never mind. I'm kidding. That's not going to get us very far. And you are using a Mac, and is your browser Chrome? Now it is. Now it is. Okay, so you want to go up to the top right of Chrome, and there are 3 horizontal lines. And you click on that, and then that will give you settings. Go down a little ways and you see settings. Click on that, and that's going to pull up like a browser tab of Chrome preference settings. And then you go to, I think, to the left. I don't want to do it myself because it might kill this session. So you go to the left and then pull that down. And I think it either says settings there, and then you go in to the bottom of that, and you get to advanced settings. And then you go into that, and you keep going, and you see privacy. Tell me if you got that far, where you can see privacy settings for Chrome. Just give me thumbs up. 1 minute? Okay.
Hey, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, Raymond, how you doing, man? Welcome to our recording studio, Rockstars Blab. I can hear you. I can't see you. I don't know if you wanted your camera to work,
man.
But we can hear you.
Yeah, my camp. This is part of the issue. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up, and Chris, I hope you can hear me. It's not Chris. What I was posting below was that Blab has been having a lot of tech issues for the last 4 or 5 days. So there's some people where, like my camera, you can't see my camera for whatever reason. It's doing that to people. It's also scrambling if you guys hear yourselves talking, and then you notice when Shaw's talking, Marissa, you notice that maybe sometimes he gets scrambled when he's talking.
Yeah,
and
I'm hearing a little bit. Right, because they got so many users now. They're probably just getting heavy traffic, maybe.
It's not even that. It could be just 2 people. I tried to do my Power Chat Blabs last week. It kicked me out of the Blab 3 times, and then you can't get back into the same Blab. So it's been kicking people out. It's been It's been like his issue with not being able to hear him. We were in a Blab the other night where we couldn't hear, the person could hear me, but we couldn't hear them, and everyone could hear each other. But for some reason, yeah. So it's not Chris. It's Blab having technical issues, and they've been working on it for the last 4 or 5 days.
Bummer. Well, thanks for letting us know about that. I'm sorry, I didn't. Oh, Chris. No, you're not Chris. What's your name again? It's Raymond. There it is. Sorry. I'm really showing my rookie side here on Blab tonight. So thanks, everybody. Now, it is possible that despite that, Chris is still having an issue, unless you already were talking to him and you know that he's not or something. You think, Chris, you might be having an issue? Did you find that privacy tab?
No, it's...
Did you find privacy? Okay, well then, in privacy, there should be another button there that says extra... oh gosh, how do they call it? It's a button there like go deeper. So, yes. Goodness. Advanced.
I think that's a completely different lab, but I know what you're talking about.
Labs in polite company here. So that I think it's expert settings again in the privacy tab. And then you scroll down, that does a pop-up window, and you scroll down and about 3/4 of the way down, and then you see microphone and camera. And you can select it and make sure it's selected your microphone. So Raymond, I see here in your message that you say, the last thing you said was record exec here, by the way. Tell us about that, man. Tell us.
Yes, and I happen to be. Well, actually, I mentioned that I happened to see your Blab, the topic, and I said, let me jump in and see what's cooking on here. But I'm a 20-year music business executive. I started out as a personal manager at 17. I started my management label at 17. And I took over a former Motown subsidiary label called Oceanfront Records 2 years after that. So by 19, I was running my own independent, major independent, and it closed in 1983. A lot of its Oceanfront Records, a lot of its productions and songwriters were by the Holland Dozier Holland team. Lamont Dozier produced a lot of records and wrote a lot of the records underneath the Oceanfront umbrella.
Nice.
So I've been running the label for 20 years, and it's now the 5th major. So I've been ruffling a little feathers in the industry for the last year or so that we officially became our own major, distributing ourselves and just going after a lot of artists that contracts are up with, with all the big boys, as you would call them. And so they call them the big 4. Well, I'm the big 5th that's now coming in and disrupting the industry a little bit.
Awesome.
And
well, so I'm going to guess I can already tell you what your biggest frustration in recording music is, that like it's the same as mine, is that we're not 17 anymore.
Hey, neither am I, man. I'm going on 40 in January, but
cool,
you know
man.
what? Yeah.
Well, so that sounds pretty intense, man. That's pretty awesome. What kind of you said a subsidiary or a spinoff of Motown? You were saying? Oh, that was the Lamont.
Oceanfront Records. Lamont Dozier was the chief producer and songwriter of Oceanfront Records. Oceanfront was a subsidiary of Motown Records. It closed in 1983. And I took it over and resurrected the label in 1996. Wow. So we're going on it. Yeah, it's got a 37-year history. It's got 20 years under it, under my reign. And we one of the things that I'm doing that's very different, and you'll see if you guys aren't familiar with what's happening with the music industry laws, which is kind of like a whole nother topic, but Sound Exchange is really pushing along with Grammys on the Hill. I'm a voting member of the Academy, and we do a lot of stuff with Grammys.
Uh-oh, do we lose you?
Oh no,
we may have lost Raymond.
That was cool. I hope.
Well, let me. Hey, Raymond, I'm gonna knock you off for a sec so you can reconnect it with a better connection, and I'll see if I can let. I see David and Blake have joined us, so maybe they want to jump in and say hello too. And same with you, Chris. I may free up your seat if your mic isn't working, unless you think we're just a click away. Let me see. Chris, I don't know if that really worked. Oh, okay. Oh, cut you off. All right, I'll do it. Thank you for trying, man. And hang out with us. You can always message in too. That's a great way to just jump right into the conversation. So here comes Raymond again. He may be reconnected now. And we got a free seat here if anybody wants to jump in. Dave, if you want to say hi, or anybody else, please feel free to jump in.
Raymond's based out of Nashville.
Hey, guys.
Or
hey, sorry. My point exactly was Blab just threw me out again, and I had to come back in.
Dang it.
So, no, what were you saying? You said something about Nashville?
Oh, I was wondering where you're based out of.
Oh, that's what I was going to give you guys, is that I'm going to drop my website on the link. You guys could check out everything I'm doing. But no, I'm actually out. I'm out in the Hamptons in Easton, Long Island, New York.
Oh, cool.
So,
cool.
Yeah, a lot about what I'm doing. I'm hearing myself on the.
Yeah, Chris, is your mic working now?
I don't know. Is it?
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, and I think we're getting
Raymond's
voice back through your speakers and into your mic. So you may need to.
I'll switch to headphones.
Yeah, headphones would be great.
I'll switch.
Well, that's cool, Raymond. That's cool. I've got a mixing console that my camera is sitting on right now that lived out in Long Island for a while. It's a mess here, but it's a mess because I got papers all over it for the blab. But it's a custom built MCI board that used to be down in Miami, and there was a guy, Joe Tuffarello, who revitalized it up in Long Island. So he had it in a studio out there. I know Long Island's a big place. It's not like your neighbor.
Well, where out in Long Island was he?
I don't know. I didn't actually go to his place. We interacted through email and stuff like that, and then it got shipped to me. So I never got to see exactly where he was. But I do have good things to say about Long Island. My brother used to have a place out in Montauk too, so I've been out there, and that's just gorgeous.
So you know where I'm at. I'm out in the Hamptons. I'm in Southampton.
Oh, cool, man. Right on. Right on.
Did you catch it? So I'm going to drop my link, and then I'm going to jump off.
All right,
guys,
cheers. Thanks for dropping in,
under
Raymond.
my
Please
link, you'll see everything that I'm doing. You'll see the Hamptons Recorded Music Group.
Okay, great. Cool. Thanks, cheers.
Guys.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Chris, we can hear you. Welcome, man.
Okay, I have headphones on.
Hey, so David, are you? And then let's see who else is up there. Nick. Is that? And then David, are you noticing the abundance of Santa Claus action going on in this platform?
Mine's short.
Anybody appreciating that as much as me? Yours is short.
Yeah,
I haven't found a pair of scissors yet, so
I hire someone to do it. Twice a year we cut it off.
Oh, that's awesome. David's saying I'm tapping on something, but I don't know what it is. That's like Periscope. You just tap on it and it like sends little bubbles of you're awesome. Oh, I can't do it to myself. What am I doing there? I got to do it to Marissa. And this is how you make sure that like Marissa catch up, give her lots and then go down to Chris. It's pretty fun. It's like a video game and it'll wear out your mouse too. Well, so Chris, this is officially my first, oh, look at that. I spelled it wrong too. That's awesome. Let me go change the typo up there. This is officially my first blab for my website recording studio Rockstars. And it's meant to be like a Q&A hangout about recording music in the studio. So I'm glad you're here.
Good.
Spell this right. Are you into music and recording?
I am into music and recording.
Introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about who you are.
I'm a retired musician who hasn't been able to be a musician for 40 years. And
really?
now that I'm retired, I can play my one instrument that I have left, which is my ears.
Nice. You just get to listen in and see what you think.
Well, I work. Right now, my challenge is recording live bands in bars.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, and have we connected already? Are you?
I'm signed up for all of your stuff.
Great. Awesome. Thanks so much.
I have the
man.
podcasts and I have the things. And I come from the land of Björgvin.
Oh, yeah. Björgvin is so fantastic.
Yeah, we live in the same town.
Oh, right on, man. He's such a great guy.
Yeah.
You know, I just had an amazing guest I got to interview today for the podcast through Björgvin. He connected me with Michael Beinhorn.
I met Michael Beinhorn last summer.
Such a nice guy. Super nice guy.
He's a great guy. I was here at a thing called Potluck Audio.
I think that's what Björgvin was telling me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It'll happen again next year. It's good. It's good.
I think I wore him out. I don't know if anything will happen after my interview because I kept him on for an hour and a half asking him questions. He'll never do another podcast again.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
Thanks, Michael.
It's a budding thing. It's a budding.
Yeah.
So I was a professional musician when I was 16. I played the tuba. I had work all the time. It was great. And then I had to get a real job because I moved somewhere where there wasn't live music. And
and Walter Sears, right? Didn't he play tuba also?
Do
you know Walter Sears Sound in New York?
No. I was like there in the 60s. So all the students all the guys that I knew went to places like Middle Tennessee and learned, did there, or they went to Buffalo and all that. And I went and did the military and learned computers. So I keep going back to school and keep trying to reconnect computer people to music people because I can actually do that. And finally now after 15 years, no, 20 years, 1990, we tried to do electronic orchestras. And we actually did it. 8 live keyboards and MIDI sound and live music, but it was hard. And now you can do it with your computer.
Yeah.
So about 2 years ago, I threw out all my MIDI gear. I threw out all my Pro Tools gear and went back to all in the box. And I'm happy. But now
any chance it's still in the dumpster? And can you tell me where your alley is?
No, it was an M box. You didn't want it. No, it was awful. It was awful. It set me back a decade.
I think I got one on the shelf.
Yeah, it set me back a decade. Never mind. So now I'm doing live. I'm recording my friends in a bluegrass band. 5 guys, microphones. No pickups on the instruments, and we fight sound in the room, and I get amazing recordings. But my problem is the band won't listen to me. I tell them what they need to do.
Room. That's pretty much most of what Michael talked about today was psychology.
Right, the band won't listen. Band won't listen. So that's my problem, and I'm working on it.
So let's dig deeper for a moment. So band won't listen. Let's pick any band that won't listen. What kind of things do you feel like you have trouble getting them to listen to?
I can't get them to listen to themselves play live in the room where they're playing.
So
it's
they're
impossible.
Are they doing sound reinforcement with wedges and PA and all that?
They've got a couple of wedges on the stage and a couple of tiny little PA speakers, but they can't hear themselves play live out in the room.
Right. So they don't know how it all adds up. No. They just know that they really like playing a lot of notes.
Well, they like what they know, and they know how it should sound out in the room. So, they want to add reverb to the room, whether it needs it or not. So if it all turns to mud and no one can hear what they're saying, it's fine. And I've played them back. I've taken the live recordings from their board and played them back for them in that room. And they say, my God, that sounds awful.
Then they say, how did you mess up that recording?
Yeah, how did you mess that up? I said, I played it back through your PA in this room. So it's okay. We're getting there.
All right, man. I'm sending you some bubbles there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
it's the least I can do.
I've graduated from a little tiny Zoom H2, little Zoom handheld.
Okay. Yeah.
And I took the board on 2 of the channels, and I did the mid sides for the room, and actually got some some really great recordings off the board and the room. But I've graduated to a Behringer XR18. and I'm taking all the mics. I'm doing inserts to get the band live to my mixer to see what we can do. So I'm recording the band live straight after gain. I'm recording their main mix in stereo. I'm recording a mono mix of what they're doing, and I'm recording what the XR18 is doing. So I'm doing 14 tracks. So I can show them, here's what you sound like live out of here. Here's what we could do if we mix you. And it's working pretty well, but it's a challenge.
It reminds me a little bit of the birthday party that my 9-year-old daughter went to recently, where they were allowed to cook anything they could think of in the kitchen, and they just took every ingredient and threw it all together and then throw it in the oven and see what comes out. I know that could be a challenge to get those 14 mics to somehow.
Well, no, it's not actually 14 mics. It's only 8 mics, and then it's 2 channels from the mixer.
Yeah.
It's 2 channels from 2 mixers and an aux. So those are just sort of like side things. And now I'm trying to figure out how to sit in the room and control my mixer, which they don't use, to adjust the sound to get them to sound good. Because one day I'm going to break their mixer and just plug 2 cables from my mixer into the PA and into the wedges.
Yeah.
Here.
So now here's a question. What happens if the PA is not on at all? Can they be heard? Would they sound great in the room, or would it sound too quiet?
They'd sound fine.
It sound fine.
Yeah, the wedges provide enough volume for the room to hear them.
Okay, but I mean, like, if they weren't mic'd up at all, would that sound good in there, or be too quiet?
It's a bluegrass band, man. It's like a banjo and a mando and a fiddle and a guitar, a monster guitar and a bass. Yeah. They'd sound fine.
Yeah,
they'd sound fine. You know, they just have to compete with the trunks.
And so what do you do now? Do you kind of mic them up individually too?
They're all mic'd individual. So they're all mic'd individual except for the bass, who goes he's direct in from his little tiny stage amp. But all the rest of them are all mic'd. There's no pickups on any of the instruments.
Have you had an opportunity to see what they sound like with one mic, where they're just sharing a mic and kind of traditional?
They do, yes. And in that room, it's awful. They sound way better with 4 mics.
Okay.
Oh no, they sing really. I mean, they're a good band. They sound really, really, really good. And with one mic, it's the room. It's the room. I mean, when we record, what we hear that comes from the board is just phenomenal. And they love it. I send it to them every week. Here's what you guys did last week, so they can hear. And, oh, yeah, we sound great. I said, yeah, but guys, you really suck in the room. It really sucks. Oh, no, we sound great. No, you really suck.
Hold on. Sending more bubbles. Bubbles coming your way there. David, I noticed you were sending some bubbles earlier, and you must have one of those gaming mouses or something like that, where it's like, you just hold the button down and it infinite fires. You get infinite bullets on your bubbles there and blab. There you go. Chris has got it. I
have a gaming mouse. It's the best for driving my DAW.
That's right. I've been using one of these things, so I don't think I can lift it up here. I've been just using a Kensington Trackball Pro. What do they call it? I think it's just called the Trackball Pro or something. There you go. Those things always freak me out. Any of the ones with you got to hold it on the side, do the wheel. I never got comfortable with those.
Oh, it's great.
I think in the end, I'm still waiting for them to create something where you can just use your eyes and you can just follow the screen and perfectly edit.
They have those.
Wow, wait, look at that. Look what David's doing there. I don't even know how that's possible. He's hacked it. He's hacked Blab. How'd you do that, dude? And when are you going to jump on, man? Come on. Come say hello. Is that Mike? No.
So my problem now.
Welcome, Graham. Go ahead, Chris.
So my problem is when the 8 mics and the band get a steel player who shows up, who doesn't have a pickup and only plays through his amp. What do we do when they're coming through the board? That's the trick. Is how do we, like, if you're used to getting all 8 channels of the band nicely mixed, and now you don't have a direct for the steel, and you have to pull it from the mains and sort of blend it together, which is kind of a challenge.
So now wait, are you putting a mic on the steel amp or not?
We wound up putting a mic on the steel amp and running that through the board, but we had to get the steel sound from the mix from the board because we didn't have an input. We didn't have an input to do it directly to the recording. We couldn't get it alone.
Well, maybe one way to do it is just to say the steel is the guest performer. So just crank him way up and make it so loud that it's just the steel show. And that'll be good, Well,
actually, the steel's not even coming through. I mean, it's actually not coming through the board. They want it, so what we wound up doing is I had gotten my little tiny stage mixer and we just pulled his amp and put it into my, I had a channel I could play with, but the room, it was never in the mix from their room.
Well, you see why I like working in the recording studio?
Well, sure, but you got the hay bale. How is the hay bale just like a studio?
The hay bale is actually a studio.
It's just a studio?
I take a studio that now it's not just a studio. No, I take a studio down at Bonnaroo and we have a double wide trailer and set up inside there, and we do kind of a sort of a faux control room. We isolate a control room, but it's it's not really sound isolated. It's a piece of plexiglass. And then we do all the hay bales around the outside for soundproofing to prevent the main stage and all the outside noise from getting into the studio.
Yeah, I've heard some of the recordings. They're good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to Bjorgvin and say, dude, I want to learn how to record the back line through live mics and put one mic on the drums and a couple of room mics for the back line and get all the singers and everything through the board on separate channels and see what we can do that way.
That's what I would do. If I was doing a live show for my live recordings, I started out really simple and I just had a pair of Earthworks stereo mics, which I put in the room, and they sounded fantastic, but they had no detail. Mm-hmm. And so I realized that my next move would have been to take the individual vocal mics and make sure I had them on separate tracks. And then my next move after that would have been getting close mics on guitar amps and then drums, kind of going in that order, because the room mics will pick up a lot of power of the band. And sometimes you just need to add in the detail of the instruments, the close mics.
Yep.
But if you don't like the sound of the room, then those room mics you're not going to like them that much.
Actually, the room mics are fine. If you're in the front, they work well. It's just when you get to the back of the room, it's like over. Or maybe it's the beer.
The beard?
No, the beer that,
yeah.
Maybe it's the beer.
Now that live sound is evolved, or at least the tools have evolved so much, now you can have these, digital PreSonus mixers and Line 6 mixers and walk around with an iPad and tweak the levels and the sound and the EQ from any place in the room.
Right. I'm using a Behringer XR 18.
Oh, that's what the Behringer will do all that? Okay.
Yeah, it does. Oh, it does all that just fine. It's great. We just got to let us mix the band,
Does it have a talk to the band feature?
I just throw a bottle at them.
Oh, there you go.
We're only like 20 feet away.
Oh, there you go.
It's a tiny place. It's a tiny place. It's not big. It's low budget.
Hey, so Graham, jump in on this conversation if you want to. We got an extra seat. All you got to do is click on the button and join us. There's a Graham Mulquin. I'm probably not pronouncing your name right, and I apologize. Oh, he may not be on there anymore. Never mind. We also have Nick, and then David's busy. He's probably like producing 5 other tutorials right now while he's multi-clicking on our windows. There he is. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. It's the man himself. Holy smokes.
What's up, man?
He is. Hey, dude.
I don't know how
hey, dude. This is like a combination of, it's very Halloween appropriate. Again,
I may not work very good on his phone yet, huh?
Tell him to put on headphones.
Yeah, if you got headphones, they will definitely do the trick of earbuds or something. How you doing, man? You look like you're in an episode of Fear Factor right now.
Yeah, outside, with
California?
Like,
no.
Orlando, Florida.
Florida.
Yeah, hey, I wanted to chime on, share a little a tutorial of Blab. You just take your fingers and you just go. Brrr.
Oh, because you're on iOS.
Yeah, I'm on the iOS app.
Oh,
Oh, you tap the screen.
For myself. I'm on the big giant screen in the studio, making it really hard to get it working and all that kind of stuff. I should just use my iPhone next time.
I read that this was in beta mode, so we'll see. Yeah, I don't.
Well, so this. Oh yeah, I keep trying to click on myself. You're not allowed to do that, Lidge. So I have a new plugin that's really cool. It comes from a guy named Hanny Mora, and he created something called Simple Live Press, and it's for your website so that when you do a Blab session like this, it will publish this Blab session with all the tweets and all the messages and everything on a dedicated page on my site. So,
dude, that's awesome.
Whatever you say, make sure you want your grandma to hear it.
Nice, man.
Nah,
Hey,
it doesn't matter.
You should hit me with that link. I'd love to give it a shot. Put her up on my site, man.
Yeah, I'll hook you up with it. In fact, we're going to have him on our podcast professors episode on Wednesday night. That's another thing that I do separate from recording Studio Rockstars. And he's going to be doing a full walkthrough, and there may be like a secret discount code going on and all that.
Shoot, man. That's awesome. Is it still feeding back or?
No, it sounds great
No,
now.
fine now.
Maybe it's just because you went outside or something. Who knows?
I didn't change anything. Yeah, it's weird.
So, David, I got to ask you questions, man. How do you do so many amazing things with, 7 kids and a household to take care of and all this stuff in your life? You are one seriously focused and productive dude.
No, man. I'm working on backing off, trying to figure out what are the priorities, what are the big wins, and pinpointing those and making a task list every night for the next day and trying to get a little more organized. It's to the point where I've kicked myself, a jack of all trades, master of none. So
yeah, that's a tough part, isn't it?
Try to focus down and figure out what helps people the most, with the online blogging and tutorials and all that kind of stuff. It comes down to how can I help the most people? And then within my membership site, I have paying members. How can I help them, the most? Those being the priorities. And
what have been some of the most common frustrations that you've been addressing lately? Or just anything from today, something that, some questions somebody had about recording.
That's a great question, man. A lot of people have been asking me about in the box mixing. I mean, it's kind of my niche already is mixing within just Pro Tools and different plugins. I get the question a lot because I don't use stock plugins very often. So I get the question, what are the best plugins to go out and buy? If I'm going to go out and buy third-party plugins, what are the best ones to buy? That's a pretty common question that comes in, and it's a hard one to answer because your stock plugins really can do most of what you need. So I try to recommend some things that are like saturation or character type plugins that will help you kind of find your own taste, your own kind of sound. Anyone who's like followed my stuff, I stack plugins on the stereo bus. I do a bunch of weird things, but just kind of developing your own sound and not trying to sound like everybody else. But stock plugins are great. I don't bash on stock. Actually, I've just forwarded a video to one of the Facebook groups. There was a guy who was asking about the Waves Butch Vig plugin.
Yeah, I bought that because of your video.
It's so sad because you bought that because of my video. You say that, but like the third video in was me showing people how to recreate that plugin with stock plugins.
It's all right.
Recreating the different modules, but using free plugins. And
I
got a bunch of emails about that saying, "Hey, man, you should have put that one up there first."
You know what? Man. I have when I have somebody looking over my shoulder and I pull up stock plugins, they don't get nearly as excited as when I pull up the Butch Vig vocal plugin and they see the big steampunk image. And they also probably have a laugh at watching me try and figure out where exactly all the knobs and buttons are on that thing. Because I'm always looking at it, I'm like, wait, I forgot how to use this since last time. But it really does sound pretty cool.
The guy that posted in the group said, "Hey, this thing looks awesome, but how does it sound?" I said, "Hey, you're in the few because most people think it looks hideous." That one's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, so I think you heard this, but I had a lot. Bump that off till I get settled. I had the pleasure of talking to Michael Beinhorn, and he had just so many cool things. Oh, shit, I'm getting a delay again. Let's see if this helps. He just had so much cool stuff to say today. I was trying to hang on. Hey, do you think the delay might be on your end, Dave?
No, it went away. And when Chris joined, it might be a glitch in the
maybe it's Chris. I'm gonna boot Chris out because I don't think he's actually in. He might be unintentionally dialing back in. Well, oh yeah, there was some stuff that I talked to Michael about where I was asking him about digital tools that he really liked, and he dropped a reference to an 1176 that he said sounded fantastic. It was super affordable, and he didn't remember the name yet, so I'm still waiting to get that email back from him, but I should be able to share that back pretty soon.
Sweet,
It
man.
was like his favorite one, or it was the favorite one he heard when somebody was using it.
What's the new one everyone's been raving about? Is the Klanghelm? I'm sure I'm saying that wrong.
Oh, the Klanghelm. Also, I just got their meter plugin, their VU meters on Ian Shepard's recommendation.
Nice.
And those things are really cool. I'm looking forward to using those some more, just for mastering purposes and mixing and having some really great meters to work with.
I'm a big fan of plugins that offer a drive control, for like saturation. The Li-Fi, the new Li-Fi EQ, I think it's called the Axis, something like that. It's the API, and it's got the 550A and B, but then it has a switch that allows you to, it's non-latching. So, they have the latch frequencies built into the A and the B, but then they have a switch you can flick, and it'll be non-latching, so you can just independent frequency sweeps. And it has a drive control. The Klanghelm has a drive control. I think it might be the paid version. The free version might not have that. But and then what's the Tokyo Dawn Labs, the TDL stuff is really good. And they have saturation built into each band, so you can drive saturation as you're sweeping around and boosting or cutting. It's kind of cool.
That sounds pretty wild. Yeah, I like using saturation stuff. I use the crap out of the SansAmp plugin.
Yeah, me too.
And that's one of my favorite ones for treating bass when I'm mixing, and sometimes for treating drums or just even distorting a vocal. Hold on, let me see if I can let Chris back in here again. Oh, he switched to his phone. That's what it was. Let's see if we got it. Oh, there we go.
Whoa. Whoa.
You got it under control? I'm getting a ton of delay again. So.
Interesting.
It may help to tap on the mic to turn it off and then turn it back on.
Yeah, try that.
I did.
You did that? You tapped the mic to turn it off and back on again?
I did.
And it sounds like, are you sure that I'm not coming through your speaker? Oh, that might have fixed it.
No, I've got headphones.
Okay. Sounds better now. So bad again.
I'm getting
feedback. That's that effect I'm always looking for. Hey, watch out for that ceiling fan, man. I don't want to lose you on the show here. Oh man. Well, so
I'll just listen for a while.
All right, that's cool. Raise your hand if you're writing songs too, or trying to, or wanting to. How about you, David? Are you doing some writing too?
No, man, I wish. I'm going to soon. I'm going to be featuring more recording and production type stuff, but
yeah, it's something yet. I'm not really doing a lot of it. I'm definitely just noodling around. It's like songwriting doodles, but I get really inspired listening to and talking to Joe Gilder to really take it to another level and step it up and start writing intentionally. At the moment, I've really maxed myself out with the podcast and the blog and everything. And, Chris, I hope you don't mind. I've been doing a lot of emailing to all of you on the email list, and it's brand new for me. So
it's fine by me.
All right, cool, man. I appreciate it. Just trying to send valuable and helpful stuff, and keep us all connected, because it's really a lot of fun, and it's a cool community of really great people.
Clearly, it got read.
That's right. You're here.
I'm here.
Well, let's see. I don't know. We may be nearing a good time to wrap up tonight too. But what else should we talk about, guys? What would you like to talk about? I mean, I thought it'd be cool to just kind of do Q&A, and whatever questions bug us, jump in with them.
I got a question for you, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
What can you spill any future guests for your podcast?
I can indeed. This one, it's not confirmed yet, but I got a request for it just today, and I'm really excited about it. And it is none other than Mr. Glenn Johns.
Oh,
there you go.
The Mr. 3 mics on the drum kit.
Yep, got his own recording.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to try and name drop records because I don't want to get them wrong yet. I just know that many of the records I know are the ones he did, and I'm really excited about it. He's fantastic. And then I'm also, I haven't met him, but I'm also familiar with like his son Ethan's work. I know he was doing a lot of stuff around here, around Nashville and Memphis, and working with, like Ryan Adams and stuff like that. I remember paying a lot of attention to that. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I'm just still buzzing from the whole interview with Michael today. You want me to drop some great quotes on you guys?
Sure.
No, man, for sure.
All right. So let's see if I can find my paperwork. I think it's right here. Quite a stack of papers from today.
You still use paper?
I have to. The digital stuff is fantastic and it's cool, but when it's time to do a live podcast, there is no substitute for a piece of paper that's printed out that will not crash on you, won't run out of batteries, won't screen share, or like go into a screensaver.
Use a pulse pen with ink.
A pulse pen?
Yeah.
Is that one of those ones with like 10 colors around it that you rotate and click down?
No. The pulse pen records everything that you hear, and it also writes in ink on the paper. And when you tap the paper where the note is, it'll direct you right back to where it is that you heard. It takes you right back in the recording.
Oh, that's bizarre. Will it actually do the writing for me?
Tool.
I'm sold that if it'll do the writing for me.
No, you have to write.
Come on, what was that movie? Oh shoot, I can't even think of it. The kid who's living in the train station in France, and his dad created the automaton robot. All right, so let's see.
Hugo.
Yeah, Hugo. All right, so here's one of the things that he talked about. This one was just a cool idea for producing a record. He says before he meets with an artist, he'll sometimes ask the artist to write a paragraph on why he wants to do creative work and send it to him. Such a simple idea. It's like, why do you want to make a record? Let's start there.
That's good.
I think a lot of times we take that for granted. This was a great one too. He quoted William Faulkner with the quote, "In writing, you must kill all your darlings." And we didn't actually get to talk about that, but I wanted to ask him, that certainly sounds like it would pertain to overdubs and takes of music and playlists, that sort of thing.
You have to kill off your closely held beliefs. What you think is correct may not be correct.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just have stuff. You create stuff. You do a first. I mean, you get like this song that you think you wrote perfectly, or you get a mix that you think you really nailed. You get a performance that you think was it, and then or a comp. Comp's a great example because a comp is something that you really work on sort of methodically. A comped vocal is not something that typically feels like a performance. It usually is something that feels like you really picked it apart. Then you think you nailed it, and you come back later and you realize that that's one of those darlings you need to just kill and go back to something else.
Or learn how to say I comp on 2-inch tape.
Oh, I've been there. I've done that. That's a lot of fun.
Hard.
If you got somebody else's budget to work on now, you can just cut tape all day long.
Unless you're clumsy.
I did a record that the band really wanted to work on 2-inch tape. They were convinced that it had to be on tape. They didn't even want to turn a computer on. That lasted about 2 days. And we went into Sunset Sound. We had booked 3 weeks at Sunset Sound in Los Angeles. And we went in and we mic'd up the band and had this just amazing setup. It was actually in Studio C, which was known as the Prince Room. And it was where he did Purple Rain, I think it was. And so we were in there all set up, and we get track into tape, and we didn't know what tape format we wanted to use at first. So we were really pushing all the boundaries of luxury of time and budget here. And so we set up the tape machine. We did a different alignment for different tape formats, different speeds on each track so that we could record to the tape, and send the same signal and then listen back and see which one we liked the sound of better. And after doing that, we finally decided that 456, Ampex 456 at 15 inches per second was our favorite sound. And that just sounded like rock and roll. It sounded like the Rolling Stones to us. And whether it would have not been a Rolling Stones example, it definitely felt like crunchy mid-range and cool stuff. And so then we started doing takes, and they still wanted to comp the drums. I mean, I shouldn't say I was there. I was producing. We were all involved. We were all drinking the Kool-Aid, and we still wanted to do drum takes and comp it like crazy, like you would be used to in Pro Tools. So what I did is we would simultaneously record to 2-inch tape using SMPTE printed to the tape, and then we would sync up Pro Tools, and that had SMPTE on it, and we would record into Pro Tools, probably on input through the tape machine. And then afterwards, we would comp the drum takes in Pro Tools, and then I would go back and I would look at which takes we used from what SMPTE number to what SMPTE number, and I wrote them all down on a spreadsheet that I printed out. And then I went back to the tape machines and I swapped all the different reels, and I rocked the reels and scrubbed in until I found those exact points of SMPTE and sliced all the tape up and edited the drums together. And there'd be like 35 edits in a song to get the drums right. And it worked, it worked. We got drums that sounded pretty solid on analog tape, but it was one big giant piece of masking tape.
Man.
Slicing tape. And in the end, we ended up just going back to Pro Tools and doing the record like that anyway.
Take one.
But it was quite an experience. I have to say I was proud of myself for coming up with such a complex method. I don't think it helped the music that much, but it was a lot of fun to mess around with those tape machines for a while. And and they had really, really good matzo ball soup that we would have delivered to the studio regularly.
Always comes back to the food that you ordered, right?
It comes back to the food and the people, because in the end, all you have is the moment and the now. So if you enjoy it while you're doing it, then it's great. And if you don't enjoy it while you're doing it, then that's a different discussion. You better really enjoy listening back later. Can a record love you back, guys and girls?
If you hear your song in Kmart, I don't know.
If you're in Kmart to begin with, that may be where we need to start this discussion.
Well, if you're in the mall, and you hear your song coming over the speakers, it's like the 21st century Muzak.
So you're saying that's kind of a negative thing to hear it coming over the speakers?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Well, I've had versions of that happen. And I've certainly had. The funny thing for me is I've been in a place where I hear music playing back and I'm thinking to myself, why is that so familiar? And then all of a sudden I realized I was like, oh, whoops, that's one of the records I did. I completely forgot. I didn't recognize it.
That's you, yeah.
So that's kind of cool. It's pretty fun. And it hasn't happened recently, but it used to happen a little bit more. It's probably part of the transition from doing more major label records and label records, where it has that kind of push afterwards to focusing and working with more local artists and independent artists. Although I still get it there too. What about you, David? Where is a odd place for you, or an unusual, unexpected? Did you look like you're an album cover for somebody? You look like it's an album cover of something there. I'm going to get a screenshot of you and send it back to you, and that'll be your new your new digital logo. So what's been an experience for you of hearing your music back and it's just awesome, or it's just kind of surreal?
I can kind of relate to Phil Tan on this. For those of you who don't know, Phil is an incredible mixing engineer out of Georgia, and mixes on an SSL outboard. And he's on the record as saying that he hates hearing stuff he's worked on played on the radio or played back, because he always hears something he would fix or want to fix. And so he's got this OCD about him to where he can't do it. He'll change the station right away. I'm not quite that bad, but I've had the experience of being in the mall or driving down the road, and you hear something that you did come on, or even something one of my friends did. Now that I'm getting to know other A-listers and top mixing guys, Jonathan Roy, mix Ballerini, Love Me Like You Mean It, mixed a lot of that record. I'll be driving down the road and hear that, and I get like pumped up for him, But for my own self, I go both ways. Sometimes I'm hearing it, I'm like, oh man, there's actually a record I mixed for a Latin artist named Redimidos, and it blew up on YouTube. A couple of his singles are up over 15 million hits.
Nice.
And I go and I listen to it. I'm like, okay, if I just listen to the song, we're cool. But if I go and I analyze the low end and I start start
remixing it in your head.
Yeah, I mixed a couple of 2-3 years ago, and we're always learning, and so
that's why you mix in mono.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a mono issue. I'd say it's a lack of experience.
No, he meant the Spanish version of mono. Like, you gotta be tough when you
mix,
right?
That too. I live in Tucson. Come on.
It's too fun.
We have huge bands here, man. They're amazing. But yeah, you mix in mono, then you won't mind when you hear it.
I was just reading. Graham had another post about that today, and he was quoting somebody who was talking about mixing in mono using an Oratone. Dave, do you know who I'm talking about?
That's cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah, I forget his name.
Mixed by Ali. Ali, that's who it was. And I love that. I'm going to get myself a mono Oratone and just put it right in the middle of the console. Plus, it makes it easier. I don't want to have to listen to all this crazy loud stuff all the time. I want to crank it up when I'm ready to crank it up. But the rest of the time, I just want to hear the parts so I can make some decisions about things,
Just put a isotope, AM filter on it and play it back, on your mix bus.
Get like a nice tube AM radio and put it in the back.
No, you use isotope vinyl. Use isotope vinyl.
Yeah.
Put a couple scratches in it, a little warp, and then play it back.
Right on.
That's fun. Hey, that the headphone plugin that I raved about?
Oh, yeah.
It's called SonarWorks Reference 3. It's a headphone calibration plugin. I talked to them today, actually. I've got the custom profile on the way, the Sennheiser headphones I use. They have emulations. If you look in the bottom left of the plugin, and it emulates that speaker, the Oratone, it also does beats. It's more of a joke that they emulated the beats, right. But you click on that, and it sounds like you're listening through Beats headphones. It sounds horrible.
That's good to know.
So what is this plugin?
It's called the company is called SonarWorks.
Yeah.
They make a speaker calibration system as well as a headphone plugin. You put it on the last insert of your master fader.
Yep.
And what it will do, what they've done is they haven't modeled every headphone, but they've modeled a ton, and they've created profiles of the frequency response, and then their plugin offsets that. So, like, for instance, I use Sennheiser HD 650s, and they have a pretty substantial drop-off in the sub-frequency range. This plugin compensates for that, and it establishes a frequency curve to compensate for it. So now I have the subs, I hear it, and so it helps to flatten the response of your headphones. So while you're mixing, you hear it the way that it would be if you were in a really great treated room.
Okay.
And then when you go to your mix, you bypass it or you turn it off, you make it inactive, and you bounce your mix. It's changed my life. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. But I mix through headphones.
Hold on, I'm gonna put that in our message. You see, I don't remember how to spell Sennheiser. The Sen H-E-I-S-E-R, right?
S-E-double-N something. Yeah.
Yeah. And what are they? Sennheiser 650s, David?
Yeah, I use the 650s.
650s. All right.
And the plugin's called SonarWorks. One word. Reference 3. I think if you go to sonarworks.com, they have all the info there. You can download the try. It sounds like a work for them, but man, I tell you it's changed my life for sure.
It sounds a lot like the Focusrite had a thing called a VRM box, which was
it's similar, except I have that also. But it doesn't emulate the 3D space. It just works on frequency. Yep.
And the VRM box doesn't work very well anymore on the new stuff. But that's rather
compatibility.
It's a stunning thing when you say, "Wait a minute." Oh yeah, okay. That was a great $99 plugin.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I used it for a little bit, and then I got this one. I grew up listening on headphones. I traveled as a soccer player, so I always had cans on. So I was very comfortable working with headphones early on. But at the very least, I recommend people check it out for their referencing and reference on headphones.
Sure.
Because it does make a big difference. It's really cool.
These are my biodynamic DT770s. I love these guys. But I agree, the low end is unusual. You have to, it doesn't tell me everything I need to know. So
it sounds good with the DT770s. Do you have the 250 ohm?
I've been getting the 80 ohms because I liked them to be louder.
Okay.
Especially, I was doing, I think that's what I started with, and I didn't want to change it up too much. But at Bonnaroo, I have to be able to get them loud at times because I have to get over the band occasionally. That's what I was using for a lot. Yeah, so, hey, Chris, what was the name of the plugin you were referencing in? Is that something I can drop in the message?
It's a piece of hardware. It's obsolete now. It's a VRM box, the virtual reference monitor box from Focusrite. It was built into some of the Sapphires.
Okay, cool. Interesting. All right, well, I put it in the message. It's a cool thing about Blab is I can just drop it in the message chat there, and it'll be embedded forever.
And it still sort of works if you have older computer software. If you haven't upgraded, it works great. Fantastic.
Right on. Well, hey, guys, I think it's a good time to say thank you so much for joining me for this Blab hangout. And I think I'm going to call it a night, but do you guys have any closing statements, words, questions, hellos, shout outs, anything like that?
Keep podcasting, man.
All right, I'll do it for sure. I'll do it for sure. And for anybody who's watching this for the first time or viewing in, I'm Lid Shaw, and this is Recording Studio Rockstars. If you want to follow the podcast or the blog or learn any more about it, you can go to recordingstudiorockstars.com. And I've got tutorials and articles and podcasts where I interview people that are much smarter than me. And then one of them right here. I don't know if the pointing will line up right, but we also have David Glenn of David Glenn Recording with us. And David, you want to give a shout out so people can find your website?
Yeah, sure, man. We got a free mixed training bundle that I give subscribers. It's got a couple sets of multi-tracks and whole slew of impulse responses, free tutorial training courses, all kinds of stuff just for signing up and keeping in touch with the content. So yeah, man, appreciate the shout out.
Yeah. And not only that, but this is going live as soon as this is over. So Monday night, and by Friday, David, your podcast episode is going to be live. So at the end of the week, it's you and me.
Well, hey, thanks for turning me on to Blab. I'm going to have to give that a shot. And don't forget, man, hit me with an email. I'd love to check out your buddy's plugin.
Yes, I will indeed. I'll let you know all about it. In fact, I'll type it in here too. It's the
Simple press.
Oh, wait a minute. I can't even think. Yeah, it was simple live press. Sorry. Too many things going on in my head at once.
Well, I'm being time for the wife, a little wine and a movie. So you guys have a great night.
Right on. Cheers, man. Enjoy. Great to see you guys. Thanks so much for dropping in, Chris. Great to meet you.
Thank you.
Really nice.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening in and participating. Really a pleasure. And thank you, Marissa. I know your avatar can't wave back, but there you go. There's some clicks. Cheers.